If I could ask everyone to kindly take a seat. We apologize for the delay, but we're ready to get started. We will follow our prescribed agenda for today, starting with our Finance Committee. Before we do that, I'd like to remind everyone that we audio and video record our meetings. So I ask the board, if you have something to say on the record, please push your microphone button and then push it when you're finished. We have a limited capacity for active mics, so please keep that in mind. And with that, I would like to turn it over to our Vice Chair of Finance, Director Melvin. Microphone, please.
Yes. Good morning. We're going to call the January 18th, 2018 Finance Committee of the Regional Transportation Authority to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Director Anderson? Okay. Director Colson? Where did Director Colson?
He's here.
Does it not help the roll call?
Did we tell him we were starting?
Right.
Okay, we'll circle back because
Okay.
we did have a sighting. Director DeWitt? Director Cotel?
Here.
Director Lewis?
Here.
Director Melvin?
Here?
Director Troiani?
Here.
Director McGallis? Is that Director Colson? Is here. Good. Okay, we have a quorum of 6 present, 2 absent, and 1 on the telephone. Can I ask if there are any other board members on the phone at this time?
John Fraga.
Okay, Director Fraga is also participating via telephone. For the record, if we could note that Directors Durante, Fraga, Fuentes, Higgins, Hobson, Pang, Ross are all also present.
Thank you. And next, we are going to have the approval of the minutes from the meeting held on December 14th. Are there any questions or comments from anyone? No? Seeing no questions or comments, we would entertain a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Thank you, Director Lewis. Director Colson is a second. Thank you all. Next, item 3A, we're going to have...
We need a vote.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we do need a roll
Would you
call.
like a roll
call,
or a
please.
voice? Roll?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Director Colson? Yes. Director DeWitt? Yes. Director Cotel?
Aye.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Melvin?
Yes.
Director Troiani?
Yes.
6 ayes and 2 absent.
Thank you. Next will be the report on the monthly financial results. B?
Good morning. Today we will review the year-to-date financial results through November 2017. Ridership continued to lag budget in November, consistent with previous trends, but operating revenue and especially expense performance improved, further straightening the regional recovery ratio with only 1 month left in the budget year. Before we continue versus budget, let's look at the reforecast dashboard, which shows actual results through November versus the 2017 reforecasts provided by the service boards and adopted by this board. We're switching back to the dashboard, okay. The lack of highlights indicates that the service board's actual results are close to their reforecasts. Collectively, ridership is essentially at reforecast, while operating revenue and expense have both developed small favorable variances. This is helping offset the unfavorable public funding performance, which has been falling short of the lower amounts adopted by the board budget. The highlighted PACE ADA favorable operating revenue variance of 7.1% is due to receipt of some Medicaid payments. Now looking back at the original dashboard versus the original budget, system ridership through November was 3.3% lower than budget, as shown by the orange bars on the chart. Ridership has been down from prior year in each month of 2017, and total ridership is down 3.2% from 2016. On the summary table, when we go back to that, year-to-date results are below budgeted levels. As indicated by the red boxes, PACE Suburban Service ridership was 6.5% unfavorable to budget, and ADA paratransit ridership was 5.1% unfavorable. Although pace remains unfavorable to budget, November marked the 7th consecutive month of year-over-year ridership growth for suburban service. Looking at CTA ridership, it is also highlighted in red with total ridership 3.4% unfavorable to budget. CTA bus and rail ridership are down 3.9% and 3.5% respectively from 2016. Now looking at operating revenue, it was $22 million or 2.1% unfavorable to budget. The shortfall is due to the combined effect of unfavorable fare revenue and the lower level of reduced fare reimbursement from the state. CTA is most heavily impacted by the reduction in reduced fare funding, while Pace Suburban Service has the most substantial fare revenue shortfall due to lagging ridership, so both are highlighted in red. ADA paratransit operating revenue was 8% unfavorable, also highlighted due to lagging ridership and fuel reimbursements for RTA certification trips. So now looking at public funding, the dashboard shows a shortfall from budget of 4.4% for the region as the full impacts of both the 2% sales tax surcharge and the temporary 10% PTF reduction are being felt. CTA and Metro were unfavorable to budget by 5.8% and 5.7% respectively, both highlighted in red. However, both Pace Suburban Service and Pace ADA are showing favorable public funding variances. Their responses to the funding reduction included cancellation of planned transfer of operating funds to capital and approved usage of the ADA Paratransit Reserve Fund, now reflected in their actual results. In total, public funding is now $62.5 million, unfavorable to the original 2017 funding amounts. So now looking at expenses, through November, they were $80.4 million or 3.2% favorable to budget, with all three service boards reporting strong expense performance in November. CTA had a 3.9% favorable to budget expense performance, highlighted in light blue due primarily to labor, fuel, and injury and damages savings. Pace Suburban Service had a 3.6 favorable to budget expense performance, also highlighted due to favorable administration, maintenance, and operation expenses. Pace ADA's unfavorable expense variance has improved over the last few months and is now less than 1% unfavorable. So this trend is consistent with the action plan that Pace staff submitted during the second quarter certification process. When you look at the regional level, the favorable operating expenses were not quite strong enough to offset the unfavorable operating revenue and public funding. So it's producing a net result which was $4.1 million unfavorable to budget, but still an improvement of $0.2 million from last month's results. So now looking at recovery ratio. Through November, the regional recovery ratio is favorable to budget by 1.1 percentage points. So it's a growing cushion due to recent improvements in service boards, operating revenue performance, and actively managed expenses. The fare recovery ratio of 36.6 and the all revenue recovery ratio of 42.8% also improved marginally from last month. In the right section, we show the year-to-date statutory recovery ratio of 51.3%, so it is above the important 50% level. Metro's recovery ratio continues to be significantly favorable to budget, while CTA has improved by almost a full percentage point favorable. Pace lags budget by 1.1% points due to their operating revenue shortfall. In summary, the service board's expense results continue to improve, such that the regional recovery ratio is on track to exceed the year-end 50% requirement, and there's still 1 month of results remaining. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Thanks, Bea. I think what's really clear is that, the service boards do an outstanding job, dealing with a wide variety of struggles, whether it's the sales tax or it's the state reimbursements or ridership. They're to be congratulated for juggling all of those tough balls that they do. Any other comments or questions? Yeah, Director Lewis.
There's seasonality to the results. So is it fair to expect, I know this is through November, as we go into the December, January time frame, that some of the revenue will be reduced because ridership goes down in the winter months? Is that a fair statement?
There is seasonal variation, but there are also seasonal variations in the projections. So we project, based on, prior year's ridership. And it varies, sometimes, certainly summer months can be higher ridership, but then there's no students during that time. So it's really offset by a number of things. We can look at and give you more information on the conditions or the factors that we consider. Well, actually, not us. The service boards project their ridership, but what they look at when they're projecting for various months.
No, that's fine. I was just thinking in terms of expectations, we should expect that might be a possibility based on our historic seasonality pattern.
That is correct, and during excessively cold months, you could have ridership go down. Excessively hot months, you can have ridership go down. So you've heard me say both. I guess the weather's got to be perfect.
Great. Any other questions, comments from anyone? Yeah? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, B.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no other business to come before the Finance Committee, I would entertain a motion and a second to adjourn. Director DeWitt moves, second by Director Lewis. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? This session is closed. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Turn
Like
on your
to call-
microphone, please.
Oh, don't want to be in trouble on that. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Committee on Compensation and Human Resources, and would the Secretary call the roll, please?
Director